Have you any idea how successful censorship is on TV? Don't know the answer? Successful, isn't it?
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back.
Does anybody else want to stay?
Let's ride!
Hey, it's good to have you back. Good to be back. It's still cold, but you know, it's not as bad as it was, but I just still decided to stay home. Studio B. We'll get back to defrosting the lava lamps 5 years early at Studio A tomorrow night when Jay Gulidello is back with us on a night. So how the hell's your weekend? Huh? Let me get into the chat room. Haven't read the general chat at 7 o'clock in a while. Good God. Hell, good to see you all. Good to see you all. I already see complaints. What else is new? Let's see here. AJ. What's going on, everybody? What's going on, Shane B? Good to have you. Yes, it's Black History Month, lest we forget. And we have. We have forgotten. There's just too much going on. There's too much going on for that anymore. And we got the point. We got the point already. Let's just talk about other things. But I'm happy to be here with you. In a few moments, we are going to be having a good friend of ours, Lauren Conlin, stop by because I want her. She's been covering, of course, the Nancy Guthrie kidnapping thing, which I'm interested in this because I've heard about houses of close family members being searched, and of course there is almost like the submarine that got blown up going down to the Titanic, if you want to call it a submarine. I guess it was a submersible. Just like that, there's like a time limit attached to it all because there's a health situation here. So I want to see what Lauren Conlin thinks about that. Then we're going to open up the lines. We're going to talk about the weekend. Couple of observations from the Super Bowl. Had a nice group of people here on Sunday, so it was really easy just to get lost in the crowd. And get lost we did. I really only came up for air from time to time to check the score to see if my numbers were in any way, shape, or form getting close to making me even $1. Nothing. I got 6 boxes from the deli. Nothing. Well, there's barely any scoring changes. Barely any score changes. Every once in a while, the Seahawks would get another field goal. It's like, damn, this game sucks. Can't imagine if I was actually sitting down and watching every play. I'd be really upset with myself. I'd be really upset. Like, damn, I should have played Uno or something like that. But more than enough distraction. We'll talk about that later on. And I also want to take your calls. Just see what's going on in the second half. He's not in the title right now. He's not in the description, but Libs of Reddit will be stopping by. Our good buddy who runs the Libs of Reddit account on Instagram and elsewhere. He does really incredible work just burying himself into the bowels of what is just, I don't know. It's like going into the Death Star. It's like infiltrating the Death Star, allowing the tractor beam to take you in, and then just like, sneaking around inside the Death Star and listening to all the stormtroopers talk. Only I would actually be a little bit more comfortable being inside the actual Death Star than being trapped behind enemy lines with Redditors. I'd be a little bit more comfortable with the actual Death Star infiltration. But that's what Libs of Reddit does, and it's an interesting dive. And I saw him do something recently where he brought up a little tidbit that we had thrown into the mix after Tuesday night when we did the MIT dive into Aaron Swartz and MIT Media Lab, and really was his death a suicide, as they said, and then there was the Bill Gates and Epstein connection that we did a couple of days later. Actually, no, it was that night too. But how these things go when something happens. Just the natural way that layers get put on top of other conversations we have, and then all of a sudden I went onto Instagram and I saw that Libs of Reddit had posted this little blurb screenshots about whether or not Ghislaine Maxwell was one of the OG Redditors. Was that Maxwell somebody Hill whatever actually Ghislaine? Because of course I believe that the last time that they posted was right around the time she got arrested and it all stopped. But that would just be insult to injury once again, which the whole thing is. You think about who started Reddit, and considering what he might have uncovered at MIT Media Lab and how they came after him and what his death might be about, and then to have the same types of people that were, that might be involved in his death, to have the culture, that kind of culture, be so pervasive and everywhere inside of Reddit now. That's another internet property totally lost to the dark side, no doubt. But like anything out there right now, there are cutouts, there are alcoves, there are, dare I say, safe places where you can maintain good, healthy relationships and also share meaningful or interesting information, even on terrible platforms. I'm sure somebody has had a nice exchange of information on Blue Sky, although that just sounds odd, right? But that's what we have tonight. First half, we're gonna have Lauren Conlin on with us any second now. And here's the thing. This is from a couple of maybe like an hour or so ago. Let me get this up. There we go. Live updates. We need your help, says Savannah Guthrie, as search for her mother enters second week. In a video shared Monday, the Today Show co-anchor said family believes that Nancy Guthrie is still out there and is at an hour of desperation. What to know? It has been more than a week since the mother of Today co-anchor Savannah Guthrie was reported missing. Now, I understand that there's a lot of people out there who are like, this is a distraction, and what is it all about? It has anything to do with the Epstein stuff. I don't really know. I don't know anybody who was already paying attention to the Epstein stuff and continued digging through, what still is interesting to horrifying stuff that's being dug out in that 3.5 million pages of whatever. But I don't know anybody who was looking into that who is now not looking into it because this story is going on elsewhere. And I don't know anybody whose attention was being prevented from ever paying, because there's quite a few people in this audience who believe that the Epstein files itself was a distraction from other things. So it's like it's like a Russian doll effect when it comes to that. But this is very interesting because of there's a great mystery. And motive is definitely one of those questions that people are asking about. And one of the people that I love checking in with when something like this is going on, especially when I know that they have sunk their talons into it, is Lauren Conlin. And Lauren joins us right now from New York. And Lauren, how are you feeling out there in gusty, windy, icy New York?
It's horrible. I have to say it's painful, but I'm here. I'm here, and I feel like we have 5 more weeks of winter left, technically.
Is that what the groundhog said?
Yeah, unfortunately.
It's always like that. Well, I know that you have a very busy schedule, and you are reporting constantly and digging around constantly. This is definitely one of the more morbid stories that's out there right now. That's at least mainstream. What do you know about the Savannah Guthrie, Nancy Guthrie, her mom, this whole situation? Because not only is she old, but apparently she is in really she's in dire straits when it comes to her health, and she might not have much time left unless she gets specific medical care. So tell us a little bit of a nutshell where we are.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much you've discussed with your audience, but I was going back and forth over the last couple of days, pretty much back and forth since we first heard about these ransom notes. And I think at this point, after seeing the latest video that Savannah made, which I know that you just played, I think we might be dealing with two parallel cases at this point, two completely separate cases. I now do not believe that these ransom emails have anything to do with the whereabouts of Nancy Guthrie. I just don't. And I don't know if you agree or if I'm crazy, but I actually no. I know that I'm not crazy when it comes to this, only because the video, she's at this point directing the video to the public. She's begging the public for help. She is, she is speaking about her mom in this way that I felt like was very grim since Saturday almost. The video that she put out Saturday with her brother and sister, it was starkly different than the first video. The first video, they felt like they were in control a little bit more. Maybe the FBI had kind of said, okay, we're going to use this script. And I don't know if you caught this, but she actually said in the first video one of the same lines as a line that was in Silence of the Lambs, which is why I think that the video was scripted. It gave me chills, though, I got to say.
Yeah, no, I saw that. We were talking about that on Friday morning. It's the last time I really dug into anything. But when you're talking about the emails, I'm actually not even up to date on what you're even referencing there. So give everybody just a little bit of a thumbnail sketch, myself included. What is making you believe that there are two separate storylines that are developing here, and what makes you think that?
Sure. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
So it was revealed last week by TMZ, actually, that they received a ransom email, but they were not the only ones. Two other local affiliate stations in Arizona, Tucson, that area, also received ransom emails. And at this point, there have been two emails, I believe, and or possibly one. We don't know all of the details, but basically TMZ has been dropping these Easter eggs about the ransom notes, and they can only disclose so much, of course, but Harvey Levin from TMZ believes that the sequencing of these ransom notes were also very important, because he believes that the first two went to the local affiliates first, and that they didn't disclose them. They didn't tell anyone except for law enforcement. And so the sender, and I'm not even going to say the abductor, because, who knows if it's actually Nancy's abductor, they were like, wait a second, we're not getting the attention we want. Let's send to TMZ. And then, of course, TMZ reports it immediately. So in TMZ's letter, they said that these people were demanding $6 million in Bitcoin. There is some kind of account that is still empty. It's a public account, I guess. And TMZ said, yep, we checked, it's still empty. And there's one thing that kind of made me think that they could be the abductors, because Harvey mentioned, they said something about the location of Nancy Guthrie's Apple Watch that possibly only someone on the inside of a abduction job would know. But then again, there is a way to see inside the home as well with these certain floodlights that they have. So that's an option. But no, I think that the first video that Savannah's family put out where she's talking, she appears to be in control. And she's like, show us proof of life. We will work with you. We want to see our mother first, blah, blah, blah. Then the second video on Saturday, she says, we hear you and we understand and we will pay. And supposedly there was this very crucial deadline that was today at p.m. their local time, which I believe is Mountain Time, and that's passed. So when Savannah put out the third video today, or maybe I guess it was the fourth because her brother put out a video as well, she put it out about 2 hours before this deadline, and she didn't say anything about the money. Not one thing. She wasn't like, oh, we're going to post the money in an hour or so, and then we're going to get our mom back. Yay, thank you. She was like, we're entering the second week of this. This is awful. My mom, we know she's felt your prayers, past tense. And also the way police have handled this, Frank, is so strange that it made me think that they didn't even know what kind of case they were dealing with at first. Because why would you let journalists stomp all around the house, film the blood on the stairs, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, days later, they're like, oh, we got to close the crime scene again, even though it's completely contaminated.
This is why people are thinking all types of orchestrated nonsense is going on here. And also on Saturday night, that is one thing I did see when they had said it was some line about, allow us to, bring her home and celebrate with her or whatever. There are a lot of people who were saying, is that a request for remains, that we can have a celebration of life, that it's like that they have confirmation she's gone. So I didn't know whether or not you had found out if there was confirmation of life or anything else like that. But the other question is, motive. At first, am I understanding this wrong? At first, there was a $2,500, right? It's something extremely small.
Yeah, it was something super, super small at first, and then it was $50,000. But going back to what you said about, and that was, I think, what the either the local police or the FBI was offering. But when you said that about the celebrate with her, I found that strange. I found it strange that they said, this is very valuable to us. This is the only way that we can have peace. And that was to bring their mother home to them. But I just kept thinking, if they thought she was alive, I feel like I would say something like, this is the only way we can be whole again. This is, it did seem a little, I hate to say it like this. I don't want to sound insensitive, but it gave me this feeling about, Israel and Hamas a little bit, where it's like they just wanted the bodies back, these families, like they just wanted peace, to have their loved ones' bodies back. But again, I don't know for certain, but it definitely sounded like that. And I don't know if you're also aware, but there was some, I guess, it was contentious because Ashley Banfield reported very early on last week that her source in law enforcement mentioned that Savannah's brother-in-law, her sister's husband, was this, the prime suspect at this point. And in my opinion, I mean, she probably is right. Did she say it too soon? Yes, most likely. And now I'm really thinking that she's onto something, because the sheriff, and the police have gone out of their way to continually say there's no prime suspect, there's not a person of interest, and just shut everything down. And, this doesn't really mean he's guilty of anything per se, but we haven't seen him since. Nobody has spotted him. No one has seen him since. It's strange.
It is,
and
yeah, I know.
There's also the fact that the doorbell camera was ripped off. I think it was maybe, I don't know the exact time, 1:47 a.m. And it was speculated that this was ripped off as a test to see if, it was hooked up to whatever alarm system and that the police would come. And her pacemaker, Nancy's pacemaker, wasn't disconnected from her devices until 41 minutes later. So if you're a kidnapper, I mean, you're getting in and out of there. If you are not related to anything whatsoever, you don't want to be seen. You don't want to leave your DNA. You want to get right out of there. And so you're telling me that these guys were like, let's just test it out and see if the cops come, and they're hanging out for 41 minutes. If you're connected to this person, and let's say your family, that would be normal that you're at the house and cops show up. But again, I don't know. I'm going in circles. It's strange. It's very strange.
You know what, Lauren? This is why it's some sort of interest from the public has been drawn to it, because It's very mysterious, and you wonder just how it's all going to end. Obviously, hope that everybody comes out of this alive. But as far as motive and who's doing what and why, everything's strange. Morbid shit too. It really is. I just put that up there too. That's just from a random Twitter account. I know there's quite a few people reporting on it though. But again, the son-in-law's home sealed off, and they never mentioned that in any of their videos about what that is and who are we. But they're bringing all of it to the public. Obviously, there is a need to make all this public and negotiate if there is negotiations. So we're all just like monkeys in the middle over here, and it's just odd. So I'm glad that
Well, I also just want to say, like, why don't police say, hey, everybody in the area, lock your doors. Somebody is on the loose, somebody dangerous. Like, there's nothing like that that's being said. And also, I don't know if I'm looking too much into this, but the first time they entered the Annie Guthrie and her husband's home, and I know when this sort of thing happens, it's all hands on deck, right? All agencies. But somebody entered the home that was wearing an Internet Crimes Against Children shirt. So it was that ICAC shirt. And I believe ICAC specializes in kidnappings. But I also was like, well, wait, my diabolical brain is like, is something going on with the brother-in-law that could be more? By having someone like that enter the home, I don't know. Again, it's like you said, we're out here speculating. Yeah,
and the last thing I guess I have to ask is about the cameras. Was anything released? Like, I know the cameras were ripped off, but if you take a Ring cam off of somebody's front door, it's not going to be able to capture anything from there on in. But the servers that all that stuff is stored on is virtual. So I mean, there would still be stuff captured from the cameras, including whatever the hell ripped it off. So was there anything mentioned about what was captured on the cameras before it was disabled?
Something kind of was captured. The sheriff said, oh, we don't know exactly what it is. It was like an animal or something like that. However, it didn't store because she didn't have a subscription, which makes zero sense to me. Why do you have a Ring cam? You have an 84-year-old woman living alone. You have a Ring cam, and it's like either you didn't pay the bill, which is like everything's on auto pay now, and your daughter's very wealthy. And number two, why have this if you don't have a subscription? I don't understand. Oh, the other thing that was strange too that has been discussed is the church. Initially, reports came out and said she didn't show up to church, so that is what caused her family to call the police. Well, her church, apparently someone from her church told a local reporter or somebody that's out there on the ground, I can't recall the moment, but I heard it, that she hadn't been at church in person since, maybe close to COVID. She had been attending online, and it wasn't Zoom where you can see the participants. It's just this digital streaming. Now, I don't know if that means she hasn't stepped foot in the church, if, whatever, but I found that to be weird because if that's true, then how, then what actually happened? Who reported her missing and why, if it wasn't the fact that she didn't show up to church?
Yeah, I know. I have to imagine motive would have to be centered around who her daughter is, because But I don't get why she's not. I mean, she's a very non-divisive figure. I don't know. I mean, first of all, when it comes to Bitcoin, when it comes to any kind of crypto, if you're able to collect a ransom with crypto, that actually gives somebody the opportunity, if they think they're swift enough, to be somewhat close to the victim, close to the target, and be able to keep the money completely separate, or have no link to it, to have some sort of a buffer there. So maybe there's just the safety of that. But I'm just thinking about anybody who would think that, oh well, I think I have an opportunity here, and it's not necessarily that her politics are divisive. I just look at this and thinking, Oh, well, here's the elderly mother of a Today Show host, and I kind of got the lay of the land over there, and perhaps we can get a couple of $1 million out of this. That's where my first inclination goes to.
But then why not leave? They waited, I think it was 2 or 3 days for the ransom. Why not just take her, leave the ransom? You know, that's what's not really adding up to me. And they also said from the beginning, from the beginning, she has this medication. She's 84. She needs it to survive. We're on the second week here. So I'm assuming she hasn't had this medication. Again, going back, and not to be so grim, I feel horrible saying it so matter-of-factly. Oh my gosh. And I've just gotten ripped apart for that. I think because I've done so many hits on this, you become sort of, you regurgitate a lot of info and you sort of become void of emotion, I guess. So I don't mean to do that, but it's just like, I would think that they've already also come to the conclusion that their mother is possibly deceased if she needed this medication to survive. And maybe they came to that realization on day 3 or day 4 at this point. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? There're just all these different elements that it's too bizarre.
Yeah, and you know what? I guess go back to amend my thoughts about the actual mode of collecting the ransom there too, is that, well, I mean, they technically have been in possession of this woman for now 2 weeks. And I don't know how you can keep your identity. I mean, that's a lot of work to keep your identity completely sealed off. Or like she doesn't know who has her at this point. And even if she doesn't have a personal relationship to them, there's no information she's learned over the course of those now 14 days or whatever. And so I don't know. There's a lot of liability there. And not only is she in a precarious situation health-wise, but if you're thinking like a maniac who would actually go through with something like this, she does, after a while, become a loose end, especially if you have money, because you eventually want to get away and use that money. So I hope it all clears up, and I hope that this is this mystery is solved, because it is very strange. And yeah, time is ticking. So Lauren, where are you going now? Where can people follow all of your continued work on not only this, but many other stories? Please let them know.
Oh, yes, sure. You can read all of my work on lamag.com. You can follow me on X, Conlin_Lauren. I run the Los Angeles Magazine YouTube page for the most part. That's Los Angeles Magazine Videos. And I have my own personal YouTube, which is Pop Crime TV. And I think if anyone is interested in the Alexander Brothers case, which is at in the Southern District of New York, I'm attending at least 1 or 2 days of that trial weekly, and I put out videos and some articles on that.
Okay, well, I have your YouTube that is linked in the description of the episode, so people can click right through there too. And I guess one last thing before you go is there's this Ghislaine Maxwell deposition or something going on, and there's also that's on the heels of this past week of everybody really digging into this DOJ release on her old pal Jeffrey Epstein. Any roundabout thoughts you have on that? Are you still in contact with Maxwell's lawyer? Have you talked to him since all this has gone on?
Yeah, so that was her appellate lawyer that I am connected to. This lawyer that put out the statement today, which, look, I don't blame him. She's a scumbag. I think that response that she gave, I will only tell you everything with, if you grant me clemency, to Donald Trump. That is a true scumbag move. And I mean, I also, listen, I guess I can't blame her also, because she's just throwing shit at the wall, hoping it sticks. But I will say that I take about an hour every day and I go through the files. And I think what I was looking at today was I came across something with Ghislaine and Philip Levine, the former mayor of Miami. And there had been rumors about them being in a sexual relationship. And this one email that I found, it would appear that they were. I mean, she signed it something like until consummation. I'm just like, you're disgusting. Like, she just grosses me out. I wrote an article or a story today for LA Mag. I came across this wild email from Jean-Luc Brunel to Epstein. I think it was 2013, where he's just casually telling him that he's in Costa Rica collecting money from some guy that owes him, and he got held up at gunpoint, like, and the tires were shot at. And if those of you out there are not familiar with Jean-Luc Brunel, he was a very close confidant of Jeffrey Epstein. He was French. He was in the modeling business, and he procured women, minor women, for Jeffrey Epstein. In Virginia Gouffre's book, she actually said that he gifted Epstein 3 like 13-year-old triplets at one point. And then he was arrested in 2020 for trafficking, rape, etc. And shocker, Jean-Luc Brunel was found dead in 2022, hanging in his Paris prison cell, also ruled a suicide. So again, I'm just, it's taking me a long time to go through everything, but I'm trying to do this, one day at a time.
The company you keep, Lauren, the company you keep. Well, this is, again, thank you for all of your work. And you're always so busy, but also so responsive. So I'm glad to have you on again. I hope people go and subscribe to you. And thanks again for everything.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. Have a good night. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Take care.
See you later.
Okay. Well, there goes Lauren Conlin. There goes Lauren Conlin. And I can't wait to take some of your, hold on. I got on the Discord, I got tagged by Rosie. Says, Frank, regarding Savannah Guthrie's mom, if Ring is similar to Blink, one of the features you get with the subscription is to upload the clips to cloud storage. If you don't have a subscription, the minimum amount of time you can set for deletion is 3 days. However, you can manually delete clips whenever you want. Okay, yeah. Well, that makes sense if you didn't have a subscription, because I know that about Ring. I have subscriptions there. And, but again, I guess it's not to just assume that you have all those things covered because your daughter is one of the hosts of the Today Show. I have other things over here that was sent to me. This is from, let me see here on the whole thing, then we'll move on to the next. This is from somebody who contacted me, called me Word. It says, Frank, I don't know if you're aware of the Savannah's husband's working with the Clintons. In IT, in information tech. Yes? Who's that? It's like a monster film. Can I help you? What? A polar bear? A brown dog? Brownie? Oh, no. Oh, no. Here she is. How you doing? How you doing, kid?
Good.
Oh, you smell terrific. You must have taken a bath.
I did.
I did. So, it's Monday night.
Yeah.
Are you happy I'm home?
Yes.
Is there anything you want to tell the world?
My dad's never going to the studio ever again.
Oh, you can't say that. You know how much money I spend on the studio?
And I'm going to take it all back.
Oh, you can't. Oh, I would.
And throw it in the garbage.
Wait, you could take all the money I spent on the studio back?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you. I'll tell. No, don't go throwing the garbage. Put it into an account. Put it into a bank account and tell me where it is so I can get it all back.
All right.
Do you know how to commit that kind of an act? Do you know how to take money and open up a secret bank account?
I am not telling him where I'm going to put it.
No, that's a lot of money. I need it. We can go on a vacation.
Florida?
You want to go to Florida?
Yeah.
Tell everybody if you can go to, like, give you 3 places that you would want to go. If you can snap your fingers right now and go.
I would like to go to Florida, Canada, and
one more place.
the Empire State Building.
The Empire State Building? Or you got to go on a vacation there? Okay, we can go to the Empire State Building for vacation. But really, Canada? You want to go to Canada?
Yeah.
You know who's not going to like that?
Who?
You know my friend Santino, I told you, who likes Kiss?
Uh-huh.
He doesn't like Canada.
Why?
He just doesn't like the people up there. He thinks that they're a certain kind of funny. But it's okay. We can go to Canada one day. We can go see a Blue Jays game. How's that sound?
Okay.
Go see Niagara Falls And in Florida,
got
Florida sounds good though.
Really tooth.
Oh, tell everybody. Oh, you have 2 more wiggly teeth, and 1 is already out.
Look, is it here? Here, yeah,
Don't touch it.
here,
Don't touch
and
it.
here.
Okay. Anyway, you've brightened my night, and you've brought in Brownie. And what's this one's name?
Fuzzy.
Fuzzy?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you tell Brownie and Fuzzy. Are they both going to be in bed with you tonight? Yes? Okay. Slumber party. Well, tell everybody good night. See you later.
Good night.
Okay, there you go. It's going to start a death metal band soon. Have a good evening. You're such a pleasant little lady.
Roar.
Good roar. My, how the times have changed. My, how times have changed. Really, really, really. Oh, you know what? I'm opening up the lines. Let's take calls from you guys. We can talk about all types of things. I'll just riff on the weekend. 914-200-0269. Give me a buzz. I want to hear from you. There it is. 914-200-0269. It's Monday. And we have a good amount of people watching. And I want you to call in. Call in. Pick up the phone. Call me. What the hell's going through your mind, especially on this kidnapping case, whatever the hell else is going on. So I got this email about how there was ties to the Clintons but then again, like I said, everybody's got ties. You're working in network television. You're going to have ties to everybody. There's so many people that are in network news that go into, that go into one administration or another. They work at a DC field office. They're in the press corps. I don't find that stuff like very compelling. But it's good to just note. Let's take a call. Andrea, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Frank, this is Cobalt.
Cobalt, good to hear from you.
Hey, it's been a minute since I've been calling in, but I've been catching up on all your shows. I just want to let you know I had a major surgery, but I'm getting better and I'm coming back.
Oh, so, I'm so happy to hear that.
Yes. So yeah, I know you just said to call in about whatever. So I'm just calling in to say hi, and it's really good to hear from you again. And by the way, Aurora, she sounds so much older than even what she did, even when I saw her back in September at the Jamboree.
I know. Well, yeah, even back in September, she was just starting to say her hard R's. She still had a little bit. It was very hard for her to say Aurora. She would say Awawa. So
oh my God,
she's got her hard
That's
R's
super
down.
Cute.
Well, I'm glad to hear from you, and keep in touch, please. And it's always good when people just call in to say hi.
Yeah, most definitely. And I just want to let you know, I last night for the Super Bowl, I wanted the Patriots to win, but of course they lost, and I couldn't get the Super Bowl live because I don't have cable or anything like that. But I was able to get on YouTube. I checked out the TPUSA one. And that was pretty cool at the end, like the little announcement from Kid Rock. So I thought that was pretty cool.
What was the announcement? I didn't watch it.
Oh, it was so for the longest I was very confused because I said, "What?" And obviously, as you know, I'm blind. I really never knew. I really never was like described to like how did Kid Rock look, and he performed, a bunch of other performers performed, and then in the end, some guy said, "And now we're announcing." And next up, Robert Ritchie, and he sang a song. I forget what it was called, but it was basically like, don't let time pass you by so much. Keep in touch with the ones you love, like being so famous. Oh, Grandpa, I'll catch you on the next date. Let's take a rain check. And he kind of like at the end said like, most important, give your life to Jesus. So I thought that was really cool. So.
Well, yeah.
And I said, okay, that was the announcement.
Well, it's definitely, and thank you for the call, Cobalt. It's definitely a better quality message than, I guess and have a great night, my friend. I'll talk to you soon. I guess we didn't even know what the message was. If you were watching the Super Bowl, like I said, we had the peanut gallery was formed. It's several peanut galleries. So when it came time for the halftime show, it was just like a long string of the worst jokes we can make. But other than that, you didn't even know what the hell was happening. Anybody that watched that Super Bowl halftime show, and I have a couple of Spanish friends who are just like, honestly, man, I Spanish was my first language. I don't even know what the hell this mumbling idiot was saying. And it's not, I understand he's made political stands, but I don't know. I don't know. It's not about politics. He'd still be a mumbling idiot if he didn't vote for anybody or if he refrained from being political at all. But that's the whole thing there. I saw these POV videos that people are publishing, and here, hold on. Like, here's an example of them. People like that are there in San Francisco who are in the middle of it all. Like, look at these reactions, and this is recreated so many times over. Look at everybody. That's what downtown Portchester sounds like every day. That's every day, and actually in a maybe about 3 months when everybody starts barbecuing again. That's what rattles through your backyard at 11 at night. That's when it actually starts ramping up. That's when all the grandfathers start singing to the top of their lungs into PA systems. I mean, listen, and that's the other thing. I knew that the energy was absolutely flat. And I said, I bet you any money they are piping into the mix some like prefab audience sounds. Because there's just no energy there. Like Bruno Mars, I remember the when Bruno Mars was at the Super Bowl years ago. That was awesome. I don't know his politics. He's not a heavy metal artist. I don't get anybody I really want at the Super Bowl. Bruno Mars was awesome, though. I mean, nothing ever beats Michael Jackson in 1995, 1996, the last time the Cowboys were in the in the Super Bowl. Nothing beats that. But geez, man, I mean, I knew they were pumping in crowd noise to the television audience. I could feel flat energy coming from the TV, and I'm sure someone's going to take. I haven't gotten in touch with Ryan Gable about coming on and doing an Olympics and a Super Bowl breakdown as far as occult stuff. I'm sure somebody buried a pentagram somewhere in the bamboo bushes that they brought into the center of the field over there. But honestly, I think it was really just meant to be culturally demoralizing for white America. And also for Hispanics, to be honest. I mean, they want to kill all types of progress that has been made where, Latin American people of Latin descent who are here in the United States for a couple of generations, and they're starting to move more and more conservative, and they're starting to see what the hell, both parties, to be honest, have to offer. But the average American experience with the halftime show was staring blankly at dozens of bisexual strippers as they entered into their living room and dry humped each other for 10 minutes. That's what it was like. And it was all done exclusively in Spanish. Okay? That was the average American experience here. It was a way of just saying, get used to it, gringo. Okay, like we weren't even invited to the Central American orgy that formed in our own living rooms last night. We weren't even invited. All of a sudden, there was a bunch of gyrating men and women, everybody taking turns on everyone, and we weren't even invited because we didn't even know what the hell they were mumbling. And apparently, I saw some people saying, is the NFL going to get in trouble with the FCC? Because even though nobody at home really understood what people were saying, the Spanish translation to English was horrific. But listen, like everything else, this is what I'm saying. Like everything else, it's just projection. You can tell that they had to pump in the crowd noise because there was zero energy in the stadium. And I don't know how Hispanics could have enjoyed the depiction of themselves. I'm sure some of them don't care. I'm sure some of them felt like they're getting their belly rubbed and they're being seen, but just some. I mean, just crazy because you know how the entertainment industry loves to portray Southern white folk. You know, like flyover country people, the country bumpkin types. They love to go trashy, cousin humping, unsophisticated. You guys know how it's all put out there. It's the exact same.
Good evening, Frank. You make Mondays worth looking forward to. Hashtag Gino.
Gay in name only. Gyno. I don't know why that happens. I did not authorize it for this computer. Gay in name only. So what was I saying? Oh, about flyover country. So you know the way that they portray everybody in flyover country is just, you know, unsophisticated and what a hillbilly, all that redneck stuff. It's the exact same way that they portray Latinos. The exact same way, only they deliver it with almost like a celebratory energy. You know, they deliver it in a celebratory way. It's the exact level. Okay. I don't know how anybody was happy with this. You know, it had nothing to do with politics, and that you can't ignore. But still, there you have it. Let's take a call. 504. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey Frank, this is Mike from New Orleans.
Hello, Mike.
Jackie is asleep, so he can't talk right now. But I have to say something about Mardi Gras down here in New Orleans. We're sick of it. We're tired of it. We want it to go away.
Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
Listen, I've heard. You're not the first one to tell me that. That it's just it's a mess. And if there was something really, you know, awesome to behold at one point in years past, that now it is just degenerated into a mess.
It's I hate to say it, but it's a liberal shit show. And the locals don't appreciate it. They appreciate the money. You know, it's a $1 billion industry. But I live just outside of New Orleans. I haven't been there in like 10 years. I will not go to that city. It's awful. Anyway, that's all I had to say.
Well, okay. Thank you for that. I think they try to. I guess they want to bring a little bit of Mardi Gras to every live broadcast, and I think that the implication is, if you don't like the debauchery, if you don't like this craziness, then you must just be prude. And
it's full of faggots and misery. That's all it is.
And misery, you said?
Yes.
Well, it sounds miserable.
It is miserable.
Well, thank you so much for the call, my friend. It's good to hear from you.
All right, bye-bye.
There you go. He can't say too much, but he said enough. Let's take a call from Joy. How are you, Joy?
Good. How are you, Frank?
I'm well. So what's your thoughts?
So I live in Tucson, and we have a lot of college students here that we can never vote in anyone good. I'm sorry, I'm not feeling good. So they vote in all the liberals, and since that Mayor Romero got voted in, and that Sheriff Nanos, there's been absolutely no kind of criminal protection here at all. She made buses free, and everybody's getting stabbed at them.
In Tucson, Arizona?
Yes.
And you blame it all on the college kids?
Well, I blame it on their voting, because they all vote Democrat. They all vote, and the Democrats we have in power here are very, very, very left, I guess is a good word.
All right. Well, I mean, that is...
they want free everything for all of the homeless, the bus transportation, everything. And meanwhile, you spend tons of money trying to keep your house alive.
I understand, Joy, and you know there's a fork in the road at that age. And thank you for the call. I hope you feel better. There's a fork in the road at that age where they're either going to grow up or they're going to just slink back into the cradle. And unfortunately, maybe there is that moment along the way where people wake up after they have dabbled too much in the insanity and they realize, this isn't working. And I've had a governor put on my mind that has separated me from the ability to see that it's not working. And that governor, of course, is politics, party politics, and or the perception of party. And it's stupid. It's real stupid. Like, I saw somebody say, because they always try to co-opt Christianity in some way. And inevitably, you're always going to see somebody that says, oh, well, Jesus would have wanted us to, he fed the poor. Jesus took people in. Jesus would do that. I said, well, okay. Well, yeah. We are taught that is the moral foundation of our society. And it was based as the moral foundation of the Christian faith. 100%. But of course, it is supposed to be the moral foundation of the individual, and the individual acting and taking care of people that you can, taking care of your home, taking care of your soul, and trying to to go out into the community wherever the hell you are, and to try to make that place a little bit better with whatever means you have. Remember, there's the rich, there's the poor. Who gets into heaven? Is it the poor who gives everything that they have, or the rich who just gives excess? It's stuff like, so it's not, the whole idea there is not to vote away. It doesn't make you moral to say, yes, the homeless should be clothed and all that other stuff. I want to vote so that somebody can take and redistribute wealth from people who need it. Okay, the level of taxation and regulation we have.
Good Monday, Frank and Frank.
You son of a bitch. Who the hell was that? Why is this happening to me? I appreciate it. It's a reminder that I have wonderful people in the audience who are supporting me, which, by the way, starting tonight, another troy ounce of silver. I talked to Tony. And we're starting tonight. This will end on Thursday night. All the super chats that come in, we are starting it with a troy ounce of silver, and we're going to add more stuff onto it tomorrow. I'm definitely going to put one of Jane Barlow's field guide books in there as well. So, quite frankly, superchat.com, the YouTube, the Rumble, the Gold Pills, it's all going to be counted in there, and the Twitch too. So that's a reminder there. But that's the whole thing. Some people, are they ever going to realize that it's not moral to say, oh yeah, that sounds good. And forget about whether or not it's actually possible to throw money at a spiritual problem or, anything else. Especially when it comes to addiction and homelessness. It is, are they ever going to realize that it is not the moral position to vote your way into a majority that allows you to take from people who produce and distribute it, create a program, give it away. That doesn't do shit. As we can see, it's not moral and it's not effective, but it is very, very political. And when you try to take that away, then you can tell the world that your political opponents hate the poor, they hate women, they hate XYZ. So that really has the grip on a lot of people, and unfortunately, young people are susceptible, and it seems like a lot of people just never leave childhood. Their bodies get older, but we still be children. That's what I'm seeing. Anyway, 753. Let me go see actually who that super chat was. It was from Stowstube. Haunting me over here. Good Monday, Frank and Franklies. And Jay Brits from before. It's good to have you out, my friend. And let me see here. We also have one over on Rumble. Jay Semo says, great show and great seeing Aurora. Happy Monday. It is always good to see her, isn't it? I love seeing her every day. What else do I have? What else do I have on that? Is that all? Oh, well, speaking on that, we went from Super Bowl. There is one thing, because again, I didn't watch too much of the actual gameplay. I just checked up on the scores, wanted to see what the hell's going on with that. I did not see all of the commercials. I saw a handful of them. And I was lucky enough to see one. I think you know which one it is. I don't know what the hell it was that just drew me in. It was very, very quick there, too. What is this? A sticky note. Blue Square Alliance Against Hate. Take a look at this. Take a look at this. And let me see here. Put it up on screen. Here you go.
Bro, look at. Did you see that? Should we tell him? So bad. Oh my gosh. That's not funny. Stop.
For those of you who did not see it, somebody slapped a Post-it on this kid's backpack that says "Dirty Jew," and waiting right there was a kind black ally.
Do not listen to that.
Thank you, man.
I know how.
2 in 3 Jewish teens have experienced anti-Semitism. So have I. I experience anti-Semitism every day.
I know how it feels.
And of course, he knows how it feels. Classic black/Jewish alliance, which has been strong since the Jews created the NAACP to help rabble rouse since the turn of the 20th century. Come on, man. And of course, because who's the culprit? Who's the culprit? Okay. The black kid was the sympathetic ally. The Jew was the victim. The white valley girl that could be heard in the corner, concerned onlooker. Should we tell him? Who did it? Who could have committed this dastardly act? Hashtag stop Asian hate. I know how it feels. For 400 years. That's the only thing that they left out of this. It's the only thing they left out. So, I know it's supposed to be a very, very serious subject. Very serious stuff. And you can't laugh at it. But you have to laugh at this point. I do. I have to laugh or I'll go nuts. And that's why I'm happy that I managed to pack a room full of people and just get lost in that. So that was a halftime show. Those are some of my thoughts. The game sucked. Jay Gulanello's Patriots. I said, I'm sorry, brother. Just wasn't in the cards. But at least they got there, right? Okay. And before we go into the next thing, because we're going to have our friend of ours come on the show with us in about 15 minutes. Our friend Libs of Reddit is going to be popping in with us, and we'll be talking to him about some stuff over there, too. I just wanted to say that Film Club on Friday night was great. We all watched Ready Player One together, which was a nice compliment for our Ready Player One book club sessions that we had in January on Monday nights. Lots of fun. And this Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, Friday the 13th, we're not going to watch Friday the 13th. We're going to be watching a 2011 cult film, though. A cult classic at this point, Drive, with Ryan Gosling and Albert Brooks, Bryan Cranston. It's good. You're going to like it. All you film clubbers out there, you're going to love it. This is one of those movies that will actually unlock some understanding of a slew of internet references and memes and tropes and stuff like that. So, and of course, you can punch your ticket to the film club, the book clubs, Sunday streams, and all the other members only fun. All you got to do is become a monthly sponsor of the show for $5 a month. Unlocks a whole new world of stuff and hanging out with us. So, and for the next couple of months, anyone who signs up at $10 or more gets a limited edition 20 years of broadcasting t-shirt. So just remember that. You also get the Keto Brainz samples, and I would suggest getting into the Polaroids and the postcards and all that, because we have really great pen pal options that are open. 609, you're on the air. Come on in. Hello?
Hi.
Hey, turn that off in the background, sir.
Got it. This is Jerez John from Discord.
Oh, it's good. It's good to have you on.
I was just wondering what you think about Dan Bongino starting up his show and acting as if nothing has happened.
I don't know. I don't know. The last time I used to listen to Dan Bongino fairly regularly around 2017 because he was in my mix of Russia hoax breakdown and investigations and remembering names and places and all that stuff. So he was definitely in the mix then, but fallen off. His appointment was exciting. I was curious to see what the hell's going on, and I don't know. I was not part of the big welcome home party that he supposedly got a couple of weeks ago on Rumble. I'm checked out. I don't really have an opinion on it. I don't think it was doesn't seem like a very memorable mission he was on. We don't have anything really to show for it. Some people would probably say we do. I don't see it, but I wasn't part of the big welcome home party. I just kind of don't care. What do you think?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I was a huge fan of him too. He did a lot with the Russiagate and everything. He uncovered a lot, and now I don't know. He didn't really apologize, so that kind of pisses me off.
What would you like to him? What would you specifically like to him to apologize for?
Well, specifically the Epstein stuff. I mean, there's so much coming out, and like he went on that TV interview with Fox and just said how Epstein killed himself. There's nothing there, and then we see these emails from Epstein coming out, like the one where it said he killed himself the day before. There's a memo that he killed himself the day before he actually killed himself. There's another email. His very last email was him saying. Someone asked him what he's doing, and he just said, "Oh, I'm just hanging around." Like that's him. That's him joking, I think, in a really dark humor that he knew something was going to happen. That either he was, I don't know. He's probably still alive.
I listen. I guess I'll get to that right now then. And I understand what you're saying because the more that people pick through this stuff, there's obviously red herrings in there. You can't totally trust everything. Just because of the agencies who are housing this material, who knows what they injected, who knows what they deleted, what they never would allow to be put in there. But I'll put you. Here's some thoughts I actually had before, and you guys and gals, and thank you for the call, my good friend. Is there anything else you want to say before I start rolling off on some thoughts here?
No, that's it.
Okay, well, it's good to hear from you.
Well, just that you sound exactly like yourself on the phone, so you know.
Thank you. Then between I'm glad that he believes this because between my wife and everybody else, they think I sound like I don't know what, like Thomas Edison singing "Mary Had a Little Lamb" on the whatchamacallit, the Vitrola. Was that Thomas Edison? I forget. Mary had a little lamb. That's what I used to sound like in 2007. But here, okay, so yes, there's a lot. There's no reason. This is not a guy who's trying to kill himself. He was assaulted a couple of weeks before his piece was officially moved off of the board. He was upping the ante. He was past 100 million, maybe 150 million. What was the last sum of money he offered the court to get out? Like, seriously, why did you need to get out of jail? And what, you were willing to put hundreds of millions of dollars down to get out, and then you just decide to end it all when that gets rejected? You don't even go to you don't go to trial. You don't do anything. That's very odd. It's just not the profile of a person who has lost it and wants to end it all. Doesn't make sense to me. But either way, you know what the thing I don't know what we're going to be getting in the weeks and the months to come. But something that people aren't talking about enough that I would love to hear some of your thoughts on is that there really is as of now, no overwhelming evidence of blackmail. When Pam Bondi and Dan Bongino and Kash Patel, they made a slew of statements that make absolutely no sense. One of them was there's no evidence of blackmail being held and all that stuff. And perhaps not, because it's not like people haven't been blackmailed, but discussion of it, nothing. I'd have to imagine if blackmail was being held somewhere, maybe, I don't know. But there's definitely a network. There's definitely birds of a feather. There's definitely, you're getting a peek behind what is no doubt, everything that they said was not there. But as far as blackmail goes, just some thoughts I was having here too. It's not that people haven't been blackmailed, whoever they are, but is it possible that most people on this level just go along to get along? That they do things like, I don't know, maybe they are just dispensationalists when it comes to things like Israel, dispensationalist evangelicals, or when it comes to war, perhaps it's just simply how lucrative the entire damn thing is. Smedley Butler had published War's a Racket a century ago. So I'm starting to think that at least on the blackmail front, that blackmail may not be as prevalent a factor as we originally thought, because you would think that it would be everywhere. Oh yeah, we have this on him, this and that, blah, blah, blah. There's no references to that. So I think we're just getting glimpses into the world of powerful psychopaths. And I'm talking clinical psychopathy too. Like they're pedophiles, among other things. And they seem to be doing exactly what they want to be doing without coercion. And that's the whole point of blackmail. There's compromise that has been obtained, and you're just kind of doing things you don't want to do because you're afraid of how you're going to be exposed. And I'm sure that they keep their circles as tight as possible and have no problem with icing someone if they become a problem. But damn, like I started thinking back, it was over the course of the last 4 or 5 days. And I started thinking about Graham Hancock and his classic breakdown of why the Egyptian pyramids were so dazzling and so mysterious. And outside of all the mathematical exactitudes and the celestial pairing and all that stuff that was baked into just the geometry of these structures, he broke down that old tale about how slave labor built the pyramids and kind of dismissed it out of hand, which I always thought sounded weird, but that's just what you were taught growing up, that the pharaohs enslaved so many Jews and they built these grand cities with slave labor. And Graham Hancock and others have put it so eloquently when they really talk about with all the precision, the mathematical precision and the artistic reasons why these structures were actually products of artists and engineers who were operating at the peak of their creative powers. And to say forced labor made pyramids would be as silly, I started thinking at least, as silly as saying that slaves in the antebellum South who picked cotton, because they picked cotton, they built the country. That's a ridiculous statement. And to say it doesn't mean that you are pro-slavery. But to extrapolate that out, it makes me wonder, is it not possible that the parasites at the top of the pyramid today are not acting out in some communal will, and that we have been so demoralized, that is to have more, our morality, a common morality, debased over the course of however many years, that what might have been really bad, might have been considered a horrible scandal in the 1950s, is just kind of run-of-the-mill local governance now. Run-of-the-mill skim at a rec center at this point. So I just feel like there is so much communal will up top. There are so many barriers and buffers between the members of each caste in our society. Like, for example, the Somalian buffer. They use they have all of these systems in place in places like Minnesota. They have all these systems in place. Now, the Somalian refugees in Minnesota is a system of protection. And it also acts as like one of those divider bars that you that you throw down on a conveyor belt when you go to a a grocery store. That's the way I see it in my head. And underneath that, you have different levels of underlings, people who are running smaller local programs who don't care about what's going on up top because they're getting their palms greased. If they do get caught with something, they don't really have any kind of a person that they can sell out. There's no real connection to the people up top. It's truly like what the hell was going on in New York with the 5 families, and why until RICO it was so hard to really nab a Don, because there were so many buffers between people. But once the racketeering stuff started coming together, and that's what you hope we can do. But that's also how I'm starting to see how these people are really just talking to each other. A lot of it seems a little bit taunting. It's not like they're talking to each other knowing that all these emails are going to be public one day per se. But that's also part of my curiosity as to why we haven't seen anything like that, or why so much of it is absolutely voided out. Because there's so much provocative stuff that's in here already. I don't know. Unless the blackmail releases are coming next. But that's just an observation I have seen so far. That there's nothing that really called our attention to, oh, look. Someone who's been got is being told to go make a pickup down at the docks, or else, it's it doesn't seem that way. It just seems like a bunch of powerful psychopaths who love preying upon innocent people, children, just really love doing what they're doing. They seem like they just really love it. Let me see here. Oh, but here's one fun thing from the weekend before I get into our conversation with our upcoming guest. Where the hell is it? Where do we have it? Oh, here it is. So I love these. They've been debunked for a couple of days now. The pictures of what could have been. Is it Jeffrey Epstein with long, shaggy hair? He kind of looks like He kind of looks like Jerry Garcia. There's Jerry Garcia Epstein, who is hanging out in Tel Aviv, they say, and he's always flanked by the most conspicuous bodyguard types, which I think it makes them even funnier. Like every time there's a new Epstein, shaggy hair Epstein picture that comes out, it's always in front of a traffic sign that lets you know you're in Tel Aviv. His hair is longer, flowing, more glorious than the time before it. Somebody should just keep making more and more like Fabio-like pictures of Jeffrey Epstein walking around the streets of Tel Aviv. Like the hair is, maybe it's a little bit shaggier, but it's white, and it just gets more and more majestic as time goes on. And there he is, just walking around with his very conspicuous sunglasses and his conspicuous bodyguards in Tel Aviv. And it was quickly debunked. I love this one. Just checking in from Tel Aviv, getting a haircut. So silly. But there was also other stuff here too that people were like, oh my gosh, something's going on. So I saw DC Drano. For those of you who didn't know these updates, there was publicly verifiable evidence that Jeffrey Epstein is still alive based on the fact, this was a couple of days ago, about 3 days ago, that he logged into his Fortnite account in 2024, 5 years after he was pronounced dead. Okay, now they had found that he was using, what was the account name? It's Little Saint Jeff. Little Saint Jeff at yahoo.com. And in May 2019, it showed a $25.95 V-Bucks purchase on Fortnite. So he was playing Fortnite when he was still alive, I guess. But he died in August of that year. The account shows wins. So account wins that logged into 2025. The profile went private today after this went viral. This is 3 days ago. Now, the thing is so just in case you don't go and tell your cousins about this, but it was somebody actually changed their Fortnite username to his old one. That's what it was. So somebody just had the wherewithal to say, I got to go change my Fortnite username. I'm going to get a whole bunch of attention on this. And he did. They got a lot of attention on it. So that was one thing, just understand. But here, the reason why proof of life, obviously there's proof of life that we were asked about with Nancy Guthrie. But with Jeffrey Epstein, if he turns into a little like a Sasquatch type of character now, I would be okay with that. That would be funny. Every once in a while, you just see in the background of a picture, subtly placed. Sometimes maybe he won't be found for years. But a shaggy-haired Jeffrey Epstein or somebody like Waldo, I think that would be funny. You remember the guy? Who the hell was the guy that was placed into the foreground and the background of like all of these major catastrophes? Hold on a second. Who was the guy about 15 years ago who was being memed into famous catastrophe pictures? Let's see what Google comes up with. No, not him. Who are you? As soon as I see him, I'll know him. There he is. Tourist guy. Tourist guy. Okay, hold on. Give me tourist guy memes. Hold on. Yeah. Oh, listen. This is old school memeing. I think he had where the hell was it? He was a guy who I think he took a picture on the top of the Empire. He was a guy who took a picture at the top of the Twin Towers, and of course he was memed into. Where's the original one? Give me a second. Give me a moment. Here we go. So here's the original one. That's somebody he put him at the top of the Twin Towers, and then they brought in the plane and they superimposed the plane. And then tourist guy started getting put into everything. He was there. He was in the passenger seat, the car during the Kennedy assassination. Where's the other one? Here he is at the side of the Hindenburg in New Jersey. So just like one of those things. If Jeffrey Epstein can now be the new tourist guy, that would be wonderful for those of you who are out there who have the means to make this happen. That would be nice. So just saying. Just putting that out there. And now I have... now I'm going to call somebody else in. All right. So other than that, whether or not he was on Fortnite, didn't happen. There are some other things here that I wanted to bring up, and that is the whole Reddit aspect of this. And here is from our friend Libs of Reddit, who hangs out in the Quite Frankly Discord. So it was really great to have him on call. He's joining us right now. Libs of Reddit, are you there? Libs of Reddit? Hold on, he's hopping in. I don't think he hears me yet. We'll talk about him in a second. So this is from
here.
Oh, okay.
How's it going, Frank?
No, I was just about to get into your post from 3 days ago. It's great to have you back, my friend.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I do. You sound kind of boomy.
I don't think you hear me yet.
Hold on. Well, while he's figuring that out, I will talk about this for a second. So this is from Libs of Reddit's Instagram from a couple days ago, and it harkens back to an Epstein community post on Reddit. Did Maxwell Hill get added back. And Lib said this. He said, I've been holding this one for a couple of months. On the Reddit, on the Epstein subreddit, I had a post. Oh, it had a post, now conveniently deleted, where someone noticed that the Reddit account widely believed to be that of Ghislaine Maxwell, which is Maxwell Hill, was added as a mod to the subreddit World News. The account had not been active since the arrest of Ghislaine Maxwell. It is one of the oldest accounts on Reddit and was a moderator before on World News and on other major subreddits, qualifying it as a power mod at the time. In addition, it posted material that championed climate change, her sister's area of expertise, and a lot of political material. For an account to be added as a moderator, that person has to accept the invite to become moderator, meaning that the account has to be logged into. The action happened 7 months ago, corresponding to shortly after Ghislaine Maxwell was moved to a different prison following her interview with the DOJ. Is this a coincidence? Hold on, let me get him back into the chat here. Libs of Reddit, are you there? We're having a little bit of a audio issue right now, but that's what I wanted to start off with tonight. Sir Reddit, can you hear me? Hello? Well, this isn't working out very nicely. Hold on a second. Audio is not coming through. All right, I'm going to give him a number. 914-200-0269. That'll be easy. So while he's calling me up, we're going to keep walking into this one a little bit deeper. Actually, while he calls, we'll go into this other thing real quick. I'm going to go into the super chats because I saw a few more that just came on in. Flashy Wizard said Blue Square Galians. Yes, you have to. We have to be off of the blue square. Everybody, get your blue squares up and running. Awaken Boomers is even Frank and Frank Lease and Aurora. Silver and Barlow's book, I'm in. Oh, yes, and we will add a lot more to that. Don't worry. Let's take a call right now. Is this Libs of Reddit?
This is Libs of Reddit.
Oh.
How's it going, Frank?
You sound clear as a bell, and you can hear me too, which makes it better.
Yep.
So, okay, listen.
How's it going tonight?
Oh, it's going. It's going, and worlds are colliding right now. Obviously, I always introduce you by saying you are the guy who does a lot of the dirty work that a lot of people don't want to do, and that is to really, to peek in on the epicenter of crazy on the internet, and that is Reddit. And of course, tracking how people are responding to certain things in current events and also cultural events. And when we have big game changer situations like this Epstein thing, it really brings up a lot of old stories that we realize overlap with the work that you do on a platform that who knows what the real fate, the trajectory of what Reddit would have been for the world had Aaron Swartz had stayed alive. And we did a big deep dive into what could have been behind his death if it not is the suicide that they had made public back in 2013. And part of all that story about the future of Reddit once he was out of the way is also this rumor about Maxwell being a powerful moderator on Libs on Reddit. We're talking about like 15 million karma. It's nuts. The account, like the 19-year-old account, it stops posting around the time that she was arrested. Where are you on this one? What does your gut tell you? Is it her, or is whoever is in control of this account just really like the attention and like the mystery?
I kind of waffle back and forth. There's days that I think it's her, just because it went silent completely right after she got arrested, right? What was that, like 5 years ago or so?
Yeah.
And then the account name Maxwell Hill, Ghislaine Maxwell, her father owned McGaw Hill, which was like the publisher for almost every single curriculum school book used for nearly 2 generations, right? So that makes sense. The posting that she did was on topics of world news, politics, environmentalism, stuff that was either near and dear to her heart or like her sister worked in those spaces quite a bit. And then completely dead silent after she got arrested until recently. There was one caveat to this. I think 7 months ago, right after she got moved to the prison that's with a lot less security, she or the account accepted a mod invite back to r/world news. So that was the first activity in 5 years.
But nothing posted.
Nothing posted still. No comments, no posts, nothing.
Is it, okay. And around the time you said that she was being transferred from one prison to another?
Yeah, almost directly, like maybe a week later.
Is it lower security prison?
Oh, yeah, for sure. It said that in that prison there's internet access, telephone calls, all kinds of stuff that she didn't have access to previously.
I can't imagine that she gets some time on a computer for the first time in 5 years and she logs into Reddit and there is an invite to moderate world news waiting for her. But it could be. I mean, it could be whoever the hell it is. They are they've got a lot of self-control, not to say anything else. But this goes back to a lot of other things here. And you're talking about just on Reddit, how the subreddit, the Pizzagate conspiracy board in particular was completely wiped out back then. And I'd love for you to give a little bit of an update on that and whatever you feel is the most interesting thing that you have been keeping track of on the boards in the last couple of weeks, because I like doing these check-ins every few months with you.
Yep. So Pizzagate, it started unraveling on 4chan and quickly moved to the Donald at the time. It was kind of in the middle of the campaign, towards the end of the campaign during 2016. And the mods of the Donald kind of pushed Pizzagate off of it because he was competing with Trump, and that the Donald was for Trump. So r/Pizzagate got created, and the crowdsourcing of Podesta's emails and digging through pretty much like what people are doing today with Epstein emails and Epstein files. All that happened on Pizzagate. And after a while, Reddit eventually banned it. They banned it under the auspices of it heading in a direction similar to the Boston Marathon bombing incident, where Redditors were doxing people that were not even related to it. Innocent people were getting doxed, and it was just crazy at that time. So they banned it, saying they were worried about more doxing going on like that. So after Pizzagate got banned, a lot of the subscribers there fled back to the Donald and started to curse out Spez, who's Steve Hoffman, the CEO of Reddit, one of the co-founders with Aaron Schwartz and Alexei, I think is the other guy's name. He's the guy who is running Dig now. They went in there, started talking trash about Spez, and he did something that probably forever changed the respect that Reddit had. He changed his name to the names of the moderators of the Donald behind the scenes. So he took comments that were made about him, and instead of his name being in those comments, he just put the names of the moderators of the Donald in those comments. So
is he still there?
Huge. Yes, Bez is still there. He's still running it.
So, there, and the reason why I wanted to start off with that and how the Pizzagate subreddit was handled is that there's still activity on the Epstein subreddit, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, so what's going on there?
So that one's basically the same as what Pizzagate used to be, but they're allowed to continue because they think Trump is a part of it. So they're digging for stuff about Trump in there. But there's a lot of crowdsourcing going on, and I go on there and watch what's being posted, mainly because I don't have the time to dig through all the Epstein files myself. So I'll let other people do it for me, especially people that are motivated. And these guys are motivated to find stuff right now because they think it's going to take down Trump. So we're posting all kinds of stuff to r/Epstein. And there's some good tidbits that you can find in there. A lot of it's just rehashed stuff you find on Twitter or X or Instagram or Facebook right now. But there's some original stuff being posted in there on occasion. So it's nice to check in once in a while.
Is there anything that's getting you excited? Because of course, from what you post throughout the week, there's plenty just to be like, okay, well, another thing to add to the medical record of all these people. But as far as excited, is there any ground movement on one thing or another that you think is going to be significant find?
Yeah, so I think one thing that's kind of gone unnoticed is the Department of Homeland Security has been keeping an eye on a certain subreddit called Ice Watch, and they're monitoring their comments there, the ones that are doxing ICE agents, and also threatening people. I just posted today about the one Redditor who he was also on Instagram, but TikTok, but he got banned from those. He was posting videos, and then on Reddit, he would go on and basically any video that was posted about him, he would say, oh, this is defamation. I didn't say that type of stuff when he had clearly said it. They just arrested him a few days ago. I want to say maybe 4 or 5 days ago. He's the Antifa guy from Minneapolis that had tats everywhere and said he wanted everybody need to get up in arms and go out and either yeet or be yeeted.
Oh, this is the guy with the gauged out ears?
Oh, yeah, that's him. The one that dresses in dresses.
Yeah, he's nuts. Occasion. No, you're right. These people are nuts, and that's great to hear that there is actually some. Is there any? Do you see any of that being expressed in the comment sections? Like, hey, people, are they starting to accuse each other of Fed posting yet because they know now that that the DOJ is actually watching these boards?
Yeah, that's been going on for a while. I would say that their security really sucks, to be honest with you. They don't have any idea of what personal identifying information should be shared online or not if they're trying to do these types of things. So yeah, they're easy to find, easy to catch, I would say.
Well,
not too bright.
Well, yeah. Well, we're thankful for your duty and your sense of duty to all of this, my friend. And it's good to hear from you again. Is there anything else you want to leave for people? Or, obviously I would love for them to go find you on Instagram, Libs of Reddit. And you also hang out from time to time in the Quite Frankly Discord, though I don't know how much longer you're going to be sticking around. Did you hear about all this face identification stuff that's coming to Discord soon? What do you think about that?
It's going to be harder to post on Discord than it is to go vote, right? I mean, you have to show your ID and a face capture to be able to post on Discord, but you don't need an ID to go vote. It's really crazy.
Absolutely. Discord will soon require face scans or ID for all users or restrict access. They announced a major change coming to the service as part of its aim to improve teen safety features. Starting in March, all users globally will be required to submit age verification via face scan or submitting ID, or be given teen-level access restrictions. You know what? If this is how the Discord goes, then I'm not trying anymore, because we had our first one that was blown up, and we spent a lot of time migrating a good amount of people over to Gilded, but it was only a fraction of what we had on Discord. Around the same time as when we lost the Quite Frankly subreddit, which had nearly 17,000 subscribers over there. That was taken down for one stupid reason or another. Probably hate. And then if they require face scans, then I know that everybody's just going to leave again, and that's it. That's it. I don't know what the hell.
Yeah, I think it's just for anything that's age restricted. So if you're marking something not safe for work, to be able to unmark it or to uncover it, you have to have gone through their verification process. So
Okay. Well,
I don't think it's as bad as you think it is, but it's still a little ironic that social media companies are trying to get your ID when you don't need an ID to go vote.
Isn't that crazy? Especially when you have people out there who are saying we need to find a way to get people to vote through text message. That came out of what? Out of California recently, or I forgot who the hell said it. Some moron. But that's where we're heading. But I'm glad that we get to stay on the cutting edge with you, my friend. Thank you so much for showing up tonight, and we'll talk soon.
Yep, it's my pleasure. Thanks, Frank.
All right, take care. Be well. All right, there we go. The Libs of Reddit. That's where you can find them right there. It's interesting. It's interesting. If you ever need stuff that you need for like a sociology class or anything you want to write a dissertation on, it's a lot of crazy stuff. We'll see about the Discord stuff, guys. That news just started getting around today, and it ticked a lot of people off. And hopefully, it isn't as bad as that, because honestly, that's the whole point. You lose so much over the course of time. They want you not even to try to start another one up. But let's open up the lines now, as we're live for another 15 minutes or so. I'm going to jump into the flip side a little bit early tonight, but I want to hear from you guys, especially if you have not called in before. Call in 914-200-0269. I'm also hanging out in the Discord. So if you want to come into the Discord, we have the domestic calls line, we have the international calls line, and we also have just that's a topic line, but where there really is no topic. You can bring whatever you want. 914-200-0269. Here's another one for you. As we spoke a little bit about sports today with what happened at the Super Bowl. First of all, the Olympics. I didn't watch the opening ceremonies. I usually don't, but I'm gonna talk to Ryan Gable to see what the hell's going on. I saw the pentagram, and it all looks very obvious and dark and brooding and all that stuff. But I gotta say, I didn't watch the opening night. I watched the skiing. I watched these death-defying. I love the Winter Olympics so much more than the Summer Olympics. It's not even funny. Everything, almost everything, especially outside, is like death-defying. Some crazy stuff. I'm looking at this stuff. I'm looking at the skiing, for example, and I don't know. They're going like 80 miles an hour down the giant slalom, and then I'm also looking up at what was going on the I think I was watching men's big air or something like that, and Lauren asked me if I would go down one of those hills that they had built up to the point where you need to take an elevator to get to the top platform. If I would go down one of those hills on like a tube or a sled, and no, hell no, absolutely not. Maybe I would go down on my ass, but like laying down flat. I wouldn't even be sitting up straight. I would lay down flat to just slide, and I would be splayed out. I look like a starfish. Going down the entire hill, I would look like a starfish the whole time, spinning the whole time. But that probably is the most I can handle. Just nuts. And then I saw Lindsey Vonn, who's 41 years old, and she was going to go down this. She was going to do this again, and I don't understand what the hell she was thinking, because she already had a ruptured ACL. So I understand that, then she fell. She broke her leg. And that started getting around that, hey, Lindsey Vonn's back. So, still? I said, how old is she? And they said 41 years old, because the television was talking back to me. And I understood the choice there. Where if you feel you're in shape, if your legs, everything's fine. If you think you can still do it, you're 41 years old, then go for it. But quickly realized that she has a ruptured ACL, and she's strapping up her legs for extra support, and she's gone all that way, and she's going to go for it. Fuck that. Listen, I understand, but that was a stupid choice. That was a stupid choice because you were already injured. Dumb choice. If you're tip-top shape, whatever. But once you got that ACL ruptured, man, let one of the young elephants into the tent and step aside. And then just went out there and broke her leg, like crashed out, broke her leg in like 13 seconds. So, but the luge is nuts. The luge is nuts. And skeleton is even more nuts. I haven't seen any of that yet. Call me when the Italian ladies start skeletoning down the ice chute. That's just nutty. All right, let's take a call, shall we? A call from Kelly. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Oh, it's you again.
No, I've never called you before, Frank. Never called you before. I'm an ex-New Yorker. I'm living in the middle of the California desert, and I just wanted to let you know that I love your show.
Oh, okay.
And it's oddly comforting. I don't know if I'm live right now, but
You are. Yeah.
Today, Although I was a first responder at Ground Zero, inadvertently, I'm an actress, and I was on my way to shoot a commercial in New Jersey. We were meeting on Bessie Street, and ended up. There's just shenanigans, dude. Like, it's a quarter of a century later, and I still haven't received a penny. I just spent the day, writing my congressman. There's this third-party insurance company. I don't know if you're aware of this or even interested in hearing about it now.
Well, hold on, Kelly. So you're an actress in New York City in 2001, and
Yes.
and you were called into act. Did you have a paramedic background? What was it?
No. I was just preparing meals for the steel workers at the Javits Center, and then I got recruited by FEMA to be a community liaison. And the odd thing was, I was taken, over to the pier, and they had this whole facility set up. And my manager for FEMA said that they got into town on Sunday, and the event happened on Tuesday. So it was just shenanigans all around.
And
I ended up
did you
being
get sick?
taken. I'm sick. Yeah, I have like all sorts of weird autoimmune problems. God bless me, I don't have cancer, but I ended up with ankylosing spondylitis and weird. I can't go in a chemical aisle in a grocery store, or just stuff like that, right? Like, I can't work. I can't be around fumes. I have to be in the desert. I've tried to travel a couple of times. I can't be around moisture or mold. The bottom line is, there's this third-party insurance company called Sedgwick that has to certify all of your conditions. And they've literally been, despite mounds and mounds of medical documentation, just all the, it's just such a gaslighting cluster F. And I wrote my congressman. I've been in touch with my congressman. I mean, he helped get my paperwork from FEMA to prove that I was in the area, because they were trying to even deny that I was down there, even though I had my paperwork from my personal reward certificate. Blah, blah.
I'm glad that we I've been able to give you a little bit of someone to hang out with, keep your mind off of all that stuff. Writing into congressmen and trying to get insurance to move their feet on anything is a pain in the ass. But especially, I've heard horror stories about the years after that. Anybody that was down in Lower Manhattan helping out, and God forbid they got sick with anything, or they needed some kind of help to try to put in a claim there. Holy shit! It's nuts. I mean, how many times? It's been 25 years of people going before Congress and talking about pension funds for first responders and anybody else that was out there helping. And God forbid you were just a local who wasn't a fireman or EMS, and you just wanted to volunteer. I have to imagine, if you're not a part of an organization, you just going out there and petitioning on your own behalf as an individual is even harder. So it's I get you.
It did help that I was recruited by FEMA. That paperwork has helped, and that evidence has helped. But I guess, it's almost like the things that I've done to help save my own life, like moving to the desert, living in a newer structure, having an infrared sauna, having my own ozone generator. The reasons I don't have, the C word is because of my self-care and what I've done, and because of my intuition, and because I've actually stayed out of the system as much as I can, you know. And anyway, I just wanted to call and thank you for your service, and also thank you just for being a soothing voice in this dark and tumultuous time. And also, if you do know of any resources, I do have an attorney based in New York. I finally got an attorney about 3.5 years ago, but it's just a clown show. I mean, it's like the conversations I had today, it was just like, where am I even? It's almost like, it's more traumatic than like my exposure out here is like dealing with these,
I get it.
Organizations.
I get it. Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's sometimes it's a lot easier to deal with a physical trauma because you know it's something that's it's right there, it's tangible. But when you start talking about bureaucratic nonsense and gaslighting, then there's periods of time interspersed with all the other challenges you have that where you question your own sanity. But I appreciate you, and I hope you call in more often, Kelly. It's great to hear from you.
Thanks, Frank.
Thank you. I thought she was the girl that called in. I don't know, because she kind of had that hi. I was like, uh-oh. You remember the girl that called in about the vibrator? You remember that? Like, that's why I said, oh, it's you again. I thought for sure it was her, but it wasn't. I was pleasantly surprised. It was Kelly. It's the first time we ever spoke. All right, let's take a call from 252. Hello, who is this?
John, North Carolina. What's up, Frank?
Hey, John, how you feeling?
All right, man. Hey, you've had a comedian on your show, Leonardo Joni, I think her name is.
Yes.
If you check out her ex post about the halftime show, she nailed it.
All right, let me go there right now.
She nailed it, man. She talked about, she's always usually got some pretty good takes on things. And then we were watching that show. I have a boy that's in 5th grade. You know, I'm sure he was thinking that like his buddies are going to be talking about the halftime show, so he wanted to check it out. We were talking about it, and then as soon as it came on, he seen what was up. He was like, it turned him off immediately because you know kids have that barometer in them or something. They know that this is just bullshit. So we turned on the one with TPUSA, and we caught Kid Rock. Dude, my wife was saying like he might break a hip. He keeps jumping around like that. But they started with Ba with the Ba. It took me back to like '99 Ba with the new metal.
Yeah.
And then he ended with he did that, and then they brought out like this cellist, and they played like a hymn, and then he came back out and he did this song and he added a verse to the song talking about Jesus. So it was like kind of like Kid Rock's redemption story. He told people to get right with God. It was pretty good actually. So
well, I haven't seen it, but I'll peek in on some of the highlights for sure. I just know that, it was that I appreciated that there was going to be some kind of a parallel. Thank you, John. I appreciated there's going to be some kind of a parallel to it, but obviously I was just going to keep watching the network television broadcast for all of the batshit crazy reasons you'd think. You know, you get to make comments and crack jokes and, you know, I would probably have enjoyed Kid Rock more, but I'd rather just crack jokes with the boys and avoid TPUSA. That's just my understanding. No doubt in my mind, it would be better quality for the soul. What did Leonardo say? Am I going to be able to read it? Leonardo said, "This is the third world, a race of mystery meat." Oh gosh. See, this is what I'm talking about. What it comes down to, all that matters, male, female, trans means nothing. Gyrating on each other indiscriminately. All that matters is, can I fuck it? People say they're animals, but animals are at least ruled by instinct and therefore follow God's order. But these people are something worse. And this is why I'm saying what was on the screen was supposed to be taunting to white America, who, I mean, they have like a race extinction countdown clock that they've had out there for God knows how long. They celebrate it. They love it. They hate us. And at the same time, when you notice it, you're racist. But when we talk about they, we're not talking about your Dominican neighbors that you love, your Puerto Rican cousins that you love that don't vote Democrat. Maybe they don't vote. Maybe they're more independent, right leaning, whatever, and they go to church and all that. I mean, this is supposed to demean everybody. This is supposed to attack who they hate the most. And this is also supposed to get who they hate the most, to drive a wedge in between them and all of the cultural alliances they're making with people that cross what would be traditional political demographical borders and boundaries, and find common ground with what is supposed to be traditional Democrat territory. That means Latino people and gay people and whatever the hell else they want wedges driven between everything, just like they call up the retards over at the Atlantic anytime they want to try to find a way to drive a wedge in between Trump and his military support by saying that he called World War I KIAs losers, which is ridiculous. So this is what they do. And that's what this was all about. It was mindless nonsense. These people are something worse. They are something between animal and human, but somehow worse than either. They've overthrown instinct, but they haven't replaced it with consciousness. This is why the third world never built anything of value. Their whole existence centers around what can I fuck? They never have a thought that isn't about fulfilling a base pleasure. This is why sexual immorality always leads to the collapse of civilization. When Leonardo was on the show, and we keep in touch, so I know whenever she's rolling through the Northeast and she's in a stone's throw away from the studio, we'll have her in again, and I'll make sure that Chrissy's in, and we'll have a good time. But remember, when Chrissy and Leonardo were on the show, I saved that article that we did that study together about the we did a study together about the levels of sexual immorality. I don't know what the hell it was. Promiscuity. Anyway, it measured how conservative or liberal a country, a civilization is, and measures their success based on where they are on the scale of monogamy to complete, no commitment to a singular partner at all, down to sex before marriage. And this was all done by I'm pretty sure he's not a theist. And he doesn't have any kind of religious inclination, but it's more so about the human animal and what happens to us when there is no real cultural restrictions, tethers on these base instincts that can become completely overdeveloped and perverted in many ways. We've all experienced it one way or another. And yeah, it's crazy. And of course, it was published in a place where it was starting to measure what was going on in the country around the time of the 60s, the women's liberation movement and all that other stuff, and all the other counterculture stuff that was going on in the 60s and 70s, and how we would be in a pretty interesting position to be able to see how it was going to turn out around right now. Around 2030, 2040 is how it's really going to hit the wall. And you're seeing it. But it's not just hitting the wall. It really is a fork in the road. I was embarrassed for all the people at the Super Bowl. It didn't anger me. It did not anger me. I didn't feel like gotcha, triggered. I felt embarrassed for these people. I felt embarrassed. Don't be embarrassed for them. They just got the biggest gig in the world. They're gyrating for people inside of the cornfields in the middle of San Francisco. Come on. it was just so out of place, and it's getting worse and worse every year. And it's not even dancing. I mean, it's to a beat. You know, they're moving their body to the metronome. The click track is clicking, but it's just nuts. It's like everybody is just hopping on top. It looks like the scene at the bottom of Mount Sinai when Moses is getting the 10 Commandments and he comes down and everybody's just having a gigantic orgy. He's like, shit, I was gone for like a couple of days. What the hell happened? And you built this we're on the road over here and you melted down all of our gold and you built a calf. Metallurgy. You made a metallurgy aspect to this orgy. Like you couldn't just have the orgy. You actually went down to building a calf out of gold. Oh, and anyway, that's the Super Bowl. But it's really empty. It's really empty. It's almost like, you think about the tens of thousands of people who are in that building alone, and they couldn't even generate volume. It was like a haunted house. And that's what they're trying to turn this whole country into. I don't think they think it's going to be that, though. I think that they think it's going to be a great party, and they're building something up and they're wiping something away, but it's just a haunted house. Because it was only great when there was some sort of there was something solid holding it together. And this is the antithesis of that. It's like a cell without walls. Look at these people. I don't know. So strange. I was really embarrassed for them. You know who else I'm embarrassed for? Speaking of these, we had a couple of sports undertones tonight. I saw this. A new combat sport league where heavyweights just sprint full speed into one another. Take a look at this. It's sponsored by Kick too. This is brutal. Watch out. Done. Ridiculous. Watch it. They're both down. We're absolutely out of it. We're absolutely out of it. We're absolutely out of it. I saw people saying, "Oh, the Coliseum is back." I said, "No. No. I think this is much less sophisticated than the Mortal Kombat and the exotic forms of execution that people witnessed in the Coliseum. Yeah, bred in circuses, I understand, is games and all that other stuff, but can you imagine training your body for this moment in 2026? Can you imagine training your body for this moment? Like, it's one thing to have a freak accident when you're skiing. You miss a turn, you smash into a tree. But for the sport to go top speed into the tree is absolutely brain dead. And many of them are brain dead now. And keeping with the stupid in sports, just for a moment, listen to this. A female skier who identifies as male to compete against women at the Olympics. This is from the Washington Times. It's actually a headline. It's real. So remember what I just said there? Remember what I just said. An openly transgender skier will be competing at the 2026 Milan Cortina Olympics, but don't expect any protests from advocates of single-sex women's sports. Why? Freestyle skier Ellis Lundholm, 23 years old, qualified last month for the Swedish women's Olympic skiing team. The athlete is a female who identifies as a male. But instead of going up against men based on gender identity, Lundholm skis in the female category based on sex at birth. In other words, Lundholm is a biological woman who competes against women. Wow. It may not seem like a groundbreaking moment in the annals of Olympic history, but the LGBTQ incorporated media has nonetheless hailed Lundholm's participation as historic. It's really not. If that's historic, then it was historic for me and my friends who thought that we were Ninja Turtles running around the backyard in 1993, fighting legions of Foot Clan soldiers, legions of Foot Clan, inexhaustibly. That was historic. Me, my buddy Steve, Anthony to a degree, if you can keep up with us. We fought off hundreds of foot soldiers that day, and we actually were the Turtles. We weren't pretending to be the Turtles. We identified as them. Therefore, that is the way it is. And that's what we have. It's historic. Cheering the skier as the first openly transgender athlete to compete in the Winter Olympic Games. I understand how it's just becoming easier to adopt new nomenclature for things. I understand it because we got to close the show down now. I understand that how it's just easier to adopt new nomenclature, but the dysphoria terms have really taken us down a few pegs intellectually. Really taken us down a few pegs intellectually. It's actually been, you know how COVID was a compliance test. Well, this has been a huge one. I mean, the fact that we have a woman competing against women, it's being hailed as historic because of psycho-emotional issues that she has when she looks at herself in a mirror and assesses what she has looking back at her. It's historic that that person, because they have a problem with what they see and what they understand being in the mirror, that person is now historic, that they go off and they ski against people of the same biological sex when nothing is transformed. We call the first openly transgender. Nothing's transformed here. Nothing is transmuted. Nothing has changed except the state of mind, and the state of mind could change on a dime. So I just wonder what the threshold is playing into this, though, seriously. Because I should be a former Ninja Turtle. I detransitioned when I was about 7 or 8. So I can't anymore. But we will continue, and onward we go, laughing and giggling all along the way. Now, here's what I'm going to be doing. I'm taking you guys with me to the flip side. I'm going to be dropping the link into the chat room. We're spending the next half hour over there till about 9:30. I'm going to be doing nothing but reading the general chat, getting to the gold pills and everything else, and just maybe doing some reels and perhaps some music. We'll do some DJing tonight too. So that's what I have for you tonight. Tomorrow night, we'll be back in Studio A. Jay Gulanello will be in the studio. It'll be a lot of fun. I hope that you're there with me. I have a lot of great stuff that I've been saving up with him for a couple of weeks, but then, the news keeps breaking and that just gets in the way of things. But please, ladies and gentlemen, take a moment to go to quitefrankly.tv/sponsor and take a look at everything over there. For as little as $5 a month, you can sponsor this show. It would be amazing. And I've got these wonderful shirts that we're giving away for everybody that signs up for $10 or more a month. But really, you know what somebody told me the other night when we were hanging out? When we were hanging out for a book club? We were hanging out for book club and somebody said, I really love, film club, the watch party for Ready Player One. I really love these film club watch parties. I feel like Frank picked us up in a van and just took us to a movie theater, because that's what it was. 9:00, everybody's in their respective living rooms. We're on quitefrankly.tv. It's at a private stream. Afterwards, we talk for 15 to 20 minutes about big things and takeaways and IMDb did you knows, and it's a lot of fun. And between that and book clubs and Sunday streams and everything else, you're not going to regret it. And the show needs your support. So I'll see you tomorrow night, 7:00. And in the meantime, enjoy the flip side. I'll be dropping that link in periodically. Thanks again to Lauren Conlin. You guys are the best. Be well.
I'll catch you on the flip side.
Ah, yes. Come to the flip side. Copy? No, that's not right. I put it. That's not. That was a stupid. Forget that last link. That was the Instagram link from the other thing. Damn it. Here you go. Here you go. The real flip side. Boom. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Now you've got it. Now you've got it. All right. I'll see you a little bit, everybody. Thank you so much. Until tomorrow, send me an email if you want to suggest a topic for the show, a guest, anything. Or, Frank at quitefrankly.tv. Good evening.